So Mandy did say she could hear me. And let me see if I can see me. Just give me 1 second so I can figure out the technical difficulties. Let's see. Yep, I should be live, but I can't see myself. That's so weird. All right, cool. I think that's it. I think I got it. Yep, it says I'm live. But it says Scribblers, Foundations, and Essentials. Wrong. This is challenge A and B. So if you guys are seeing that, I will correct that. I will correct that title later. So, hey, how's everybody doing? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Oh, yeah, I can see you now. Hi. I fixed it. All right. So I want to apologize first for being a couple minutes late because, as y'all know, homeschool doesn't always go as planned. So my homeschool didn't get started on time, and I was determined to make sure everything got in, so it didn't get finished on time. So I am a little less prepared than I had hoped. Yesterday, for the Scribblers, Foundations, and Essentials, I had everything kind of laid out in front of me. Today, for Challenge A and B, it is still in the box. So you're going to see me bending down a lot because my life did that to me today. So let's just jump right in. Lord, I thank you so much for this opportunity to share with these ladies. And I just pray you be glorified by all that we try to do. In Jesus' name, amen. So today we're talking about the products that you're going to need for Challenge A and B. I'm going to change my view here so I can see everybody. And we're going to start off with Challenge A. I know a lot of y'all are curious about the math map. So if you're on camera, you can raise your hand, or if you're on chat, I'll see if I can look at the chat too. Raise your hand if you have not seen the math map yet. One.
Come on, I'm trying to do this meeting.
Somebody's knocking on my door. Perfect timing, right? Oh, it says Challenge A and B for you. Okay, thank you, Brittany. All right, so the math map is the newest version, the newest part of our curriculum, and it is produced by CC Multimedia, which means we can offer our own support, our own tutoring, our own help. We can produce our own products, help you with the math map, and that is kind of exciting. So let me start with the math map. Okay, let me not start with the math map because I don't have it in this room. Okay, why don't y'all give me like 2 minutes to actually get my mind together, and then I'm going to provide a lot of value. Just hold on 1 second. It wasn't quite that far. It was just in my book bag. Okay, so let's start with the math map. Thank you guys for being so patient with me. The math map comes in 30 booklets. It is our math curriculum that we will be using for Challenge A this year. I have a Rising Challenge A student, so I have been digging all into this thing. This is what it looks like in print. This is half of it, and it is in booklets. So this has 30 booklets. Each booklet is 1 week's worth of work. So I put mine in 2 binders. So this is like weeks 15 to 30, and the other one is weeks 1 through 15. So this would be 16 to 30. You are going to want to purchase this. It is consumable, but of course, as with any consumable, you can use it like a textbook if you like, if you want to just hold on to it for maybe future kids. I wouldn't hold on to it for future kids like 5 years or 3 or 4 years down the line because I just don't trust it. I think new editions come out with all the curriculum. So anything that's more than a year or 2 down the line, I just don't trust it. But other than that, you can use it as a consumable. You can use it as a textbook. Each week will come to you. You would, unlike the other, except for one other strand, unlike the other strands, rather than doing the work and coming to community with that work already done, the math map is made for you to come to community, be introduced to that week's curriculum, and then go home and do that work. So then when you would come the next week, you would bring the week you just finished and the week that you are about to be introduced to. And that way you don't have to lug a big textbook around. You just have the two booklets for the previous week and the week that's to come. There are math map events, both online and in person. So if you get my newsletter, you know the upcoming events. There's also a new one on April 13th in Woodstock. So if you're in Northwest Georgia, you may want to write that one down, and we're going to talk all about the math map. Okay. But that is what you would need for math. And so let me just backtrack a little bit and talk to you guys a little bit about how I recommend products. Okay. So I recommend products in 3 tiers. There's tier 1, which is you need this product or you're not doing our curriculum. Like, this is what we use. Tier 2 is you should probably get this. It will make your life so much easier. But if you don't, you could probably, maybe you have more time than money. So you want to that's what my mother used to always say. I got more time than money, girl. So maybe you have more time than money and you would rather spend your time creating things and doing your thing. You can totally do that. Those are tier 2 products. Tier 3 products are, this would be good for your homeschool. I think this would be nice to have, but you don't really need to get it. Okay. And I don't recommend anything beyond tier 3 because if I don't think that you should have it, I won't sell it. So that's just how I flow. So math map is tier 1. It is the curriculum that we're using for CC for math. Tier 2 math map is going to be a few things. We have this tables, squares, and cubes. It's like $5.99. It's a set of worksheets that you can use to help drill math facts, right? So it's basically next level of foundations math work. Okay, so that's 1, tier 2. Then we also have our math trivium table, which is really helpful. It has of course, the 100 chart, but it also has the multiplication chart all the way up to 15. And it has lots of the notations that you're going to be seeing in the math map. Okay, so it has a lot of those things. You can use that for review, for quizzing, for attending, those kinds of things. And then we also, for math map, we have the quick flip arithmetic book for math facts. So especially in challenge A and B, prior to heading into high school, you want to make sure your kids have their math facts really drilled. And so our quick flip arithmetic, say that 5 times, is a great way to do math games. And then the last one is our flashcards. When you get your math map, hold on. For some reason, my nose won't let my glasses stay on my face. When you get your math map, on pages 1, 5, 9, and 13 of every single booklet, there's a little box at the top that says flashcards next to it. It's a checkbox, right? What they're recommending is that every day for 10 to 15 minutes, your student is drilled in flashcards. We have 4 sets of flashcards that will be available starting next month. The first 2 have already been available for quite some time, and those are the addition and multiplication CC math flashcards. I recommend those because they really show you the commutative law, and the kids get used to recognizing that 8 plus 4 and 4 plus 8 are the same thing, or 9 times 7 and 7 times 9 are the same thing. So that really helped us in our homeschool, was to actually see the commutative law in action on those flashcards. And it also helps you get through Memory Master pretty fast. The other 2 flashcards that will be available beginning in April are notations, numbers and notations. And that's going to accompany the math map as well. That's going to be really great. And then fractions. So they'll be able to drill fractions, simplifying things, all those. It would be really, really helpful. So those 4 things are like tier 2. And then tier 3, I would say, is really any math book or math product that we have in our bookstore. And then I just got I'm off the rails a little bit, but I just got this really cool novel that is like math. What is it called? The Math Detectives or something. So I highly recommend getting your kids reading things like that are like, they use math in the storyline. But I'm a little bit off topic there. So those are my tier 3. All right. So the math map, the trivium tables, the flashcards, and then of course the games. Those would be the recommended items that I would have tier 1, 2, and 3 for math. For research, the nature sketch journal, I say go get your own. It's like $5 at Five Below. Don't tell nobody. Shh. But the nature sketch journal is basically a blank book, and it's $13.99. So it's very pretty on the front, and then it's a bunch of graphing paper in the inside. Lyrical Life Science and Human Body, that is a tier 2. It's a really, really great product. I highly recommend it, but you don't need it to do challenge A research. Okay. In fact, for research, you don't really need anything but a journal. The first semester, you're going to be going and getting your own books. So this is where I recommend, and again, I'm mixing kind of what CC recommends and what I've seen, because I was a challenge A director for 3 years. The first semester, you're going to be doing research, like legit, go to the library, find 3 books that are below your grade level and do research on this particular topic. And the topic that they give you is very broad, like vertebrates, right? Or space. And you get to pick one thing. It could be a lizard, a certain kind of lizard. It could be one of the planets. It could be one of the stars or a constellation. And then you go and you do your own research. And this is where I recommend you bring IEW writing into challenge A, because the writing, which you'll hear about in a minute for challenge A, is actually going to be lost tools of writing. So what do you do to keep practicing the IEW? I recommend that you keep doing it in science. So those kids will go and they'll get 3 books that are below their reading set, at or below their reading level, do keyword outlines on there. And every week they're coming in with either a keyword outline or a written essay about the topic that they researched. Then they move to science fair. Science fair, you're going to get a very detailed methodical way of preparing for science fair. And then after that, they do anatomy, where they go back to using their journal and they're drawing all the things. So there's no textbook for research that you need to purchase. Okay. All right. Next is reasoning. Reasoning, we have analogies for all of us. Let me see if I can pull that out. It is a spiral notebook. And it looks like this. Okay. Analogies for all of us. It's a really cool analogies book. You're going to be memorizing one of the Psalms, and you're going to be working through this book. And I would say this is the strand that will take you the least amount of time per week when you're using this book. I really think this one is about 20 minutes a day, maybe less. And it's a really great way. It's even like SAT prep. It's a really great way to prepare for logic, which is coming up in challenge B. Okay. The Fallacy Detective is the second semester book. And it looks like this. Okay. This is the Fallacy Detective. And it's a read-along kind of workbook. That's not helpful. Where you're going to answer, you read the chapter and then you answer the questions. And it's a really great way to introduce students to logical fallacies. So this is second semester. So if you're trying to do like, I'll just buy this stuff for first semester, you're going to want to make a list of things that you need for second semester. This one is a second semester book. All right. And here I found the Nature Sketch Journal in case you want to see it and see why I'm like, I could buy this for way less. Okay. Just blank pages. And I think, what are those? Every once in a while, there's like a scripture. Or this one's like a poem by Cecil Alexander, right? So it's got really cool stuff in there. But at the end of the day, I will leave that to you. I'm a great salesman, right? It has a ruler on the back. So that would be up to you. All right. Debate. Debate strand is really that first semester. We're going to be doing cartography. Really the whole year, you're doing cartography. So our cartography book is actually one of my favorite books. It's such a nice, it's like an atlas, CCMM atlas. It's so beautiful. It's very well done. The pages are phenomenal. The drawings are huge. And it has all of the continents. And I think one of my favorite features is the articles that you can read on various things. And it has questions you can answer and things like that, and just gives you a lot of insight and a lot of provocative questions that make you want to go research more. So this is one of the products that you're going to want to get for Challenge A for debate. You're going to be using this to trace the whole world. By the end of the year, your children are going to be able to draw the world. Okay. And then you can get a blue book examination packet, but often, depending, you want to talk to your director about that, because often the director will use her supply fee to purchase the blue books. So make sure you check in with her before you buy your own blue books. Let's move on to grammar. For grammar, you're going to grab the Henley books. Let me grab it for you. Oh, this is year 4. Well, yeah, the Henley book is not popping up. So it does look like, never mind. Hold on one second. It does look like this, but it's a different color. So this one says 4th year. You're going to get a Henley book. It's blue and it says year 1. Okay. So you're going to want to grab that Henley book. And that one is the textbook. It's like the part that has the information in it. Then there's a smaller one, and that one is the grammar book. That one's going to follow you along all through, because you're going to go and check your grammar. So you're going to see the rules and some examples of how things are conjugated and declined. That grammar book accompanies all of your Latin Henley books. So those are the 2 books. Plus, you're going to want to grab the answer key. The answer key also looks just like this. It's just thin and it's white. Okay, but it looks just like this, and it's thinner and it's white. That one, a lot of people, you're going to want to talk to a few of the people in your community to see which answer key they're going to use. The Latin answer key from Henley can sometimes be frustrating, because when you go to look for an answer, every once in a while it'll say see page whatever in the textbook. And basically what they're saying is go figure it out. The answer is in the textbook. And a lot of people, me included, might be like, wait, I don't, if I knew how to figure it out, I wouldn't come to the answer key, right? So a lot of people use Seton or another answer key. So I want you to get whatever is best for your family, whatever one you think you can use. I still use the Latin one. The Henley one, because we just got used to it. So it is not like it doesn't work and it's not useful. It's just that every once in a while it can be frustrating if you go and it's like, okay, go see this page and it'll explain it to you. But then you go back and you see the page and you look through it and you get the answer. So that is the required books that you want to get for Henley. Now, this would be tier 2, but it's like high tier 2. And it is the Latin workspace, right? You get one that says Latin A, one that says Latin B, and one that says Latin 1. And what this does for you is, let's talk about if you don't have this one. If you don't have this, you open up the book and you look at the guide, and it says you have to do lessons 14 through 18. Then you would sit down with your child and you would say, okay, you're going to do lesson 14 on Tuesday. Let's say your community is on Monday. You're going to do lesson 14 on Tuesday, and you're going to do only the evens. And then you do 15 on Wednesday, and you do only the odds. And you're going to sit down and you're going to make a schedule for them, and you're going to make sure they know when they're done with Latin for that day, because you don't want them, this is a mistake I made, you don't want them to try to knock Latin out all in one day. They will try to do Latin for 4 hours and then have no brain capacity to do anything else. This book divides it up for you, and it does it with like charts. So at the top, it'll say, okay, semester 2, week 7, day 4. So it'll have semester 2, week 7, day 1. This is what we recommend you do on day 1. And then you can write it in here in the chart, right? This is what we recommend you do on day 2. This is what, and then this is review. So you're going to fill in this chart for declension, decline this noun or whatever, and then so on and so forth. It actually breaks that down for you, and it makes the kids already have a schedule made. I have heard pros and cons to that. One of the pros is the students know when they're done, and it's just a little bit less work for them to try and figure out, with Latin being so new. And then another person was like, I want my kid to learn how to divide the work up themselves. And so they chose not to get the workspace. I don't have a preference. I think, if they get the workspace, they'll learn how to do that with other strands. And if they don't, then they'll learn how to do it here. It's either or for me. But I used it, I liked it, and I will get it probably for all of my kids. We also have Latin. Oh, that's not it. Here it is. A Latin. This would be like a low tier 2, high tier 3. This is a Latin trivium table. It does a lot of explaining. As you are going through the year and you're learning a lot of these concepts, this is a way for you to be able to picture it. If you have a visual learner, I would say this is a high tier 2 if you have a visual learner, because it puts all of the various declensions and conjugations and things in picture form, and then they can go through and actually see where everything fits in the language, whether it's with verbs or with nouns or with other parts of speech. They can actually take what they know about English from essentials and associate it with the Latin, and it is visualized here on this chart. So I would say this is a high tier 2 if you have a visual learner. All right, so let's keep going. I should say one more thing about Latin. For those of you who may not know, the Henley follows them from Latin A to Latin B, to Challenge B to Challenge 1. So they're going to use the same book. It's kind of like essentials, right? They're going to use the same book for Challenge A, Challenge B, and Challenge 1. So you get that textbook. That's it for 3 years. But the workspace has a Latin workspace A, a Latin workspace B that I showed you, and a Latin workspace 1. So when you get to Challenge 1, you're going to want to buy A, B, and 1, because in Challenge A, they do about a third of the book. In Challenge B, they go back to the beginning, review that first part of the book in first semester, and in the second semester, they do about another third of the book. And then in Challenge 1, they're going to cover pretty much the entire book. So it moves a lot faster in Challenge 1. And so you won't have to buy the Henley first year book more than once, even though you're using it 3 years. But these are consumables, and you would buy the Latin workspace A for Challenge A, the Latin workspace B, A and B for Challenge B, and then the Latin workspace A, Latin workspace B, and Latin workspace 1 when you get to Challenge 1. Okay. Let me pause and ask if anybody has any questions so far. Go for it, Brittany.
I had asked, I know some people get their Latin books spiral bound, and
Yes.
we were told to go to Office Depot, but that seems to be changing now. So I don't know if they had a recommendation of a vendor that would spiral bound those books if we wanted to.
Oh, so a recommendation for a vendor, I don't know, but I do get mine spiral bound because we do have to lay them flat and work with that book a lot. And so it can be a little bit frustrating to keep trying to keep the book open. But I will follow up with you. Can you send me a text message that just says Latin spiral bound or something to help me follow up with finding a vendor? I think I have one near me. Where are you?
I'm in Marietta, Georgia.
Marietta. Okay.
Yeah, Marietta. So last year I went and I got one spiral bound at Office Depot. But they told me that they were not going to do that anymore. So I didn't know if Staples or some other place was looking for it. Because I had wanted to buy a Latin book for myself so we could each have our own copy going at the same time. But I was like, I don't know where to get it so I can lay flat.
Yes, the spiral does help it lay flat. I have like a copy print express near me, but I'm in northeast Georgia. I will ask and see if there's a national vendor that we recommend. I did go to Office Depot and they said they don't do it anymore because the books were so thick it was like messing up their machines or something.
Yeah, something about it.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's a great question if there's a recommendation. But I do, for those of you who don't know what she's talking about, we take the binding. So we would slice the spine off of the book and then spiral bound it so that we can lay it flat. Because see right here, it won't lay flat, so it doesn't stay closed. But when you spiral bind it, it'll lay flat. It'll lay flat and open. When you spiral bind it, it can lay flat on the paper. So yes, that is a great reminder. Let me follow up with you about that to see if we have like a national vendor that we would recommend. Otherwise, I would just recommend, a mom and pop copy shop and see if they would do it for you. It's definitely worth it. I actually had one person that just did it themselves. So, and then they just took it and had it spiral bound. I think it's the cutting off part that causes them problems. So let's see, where's my catalog? For those of you who don't have a catalog, it is coming. But if you do not have a physical catalog, they are available online. And did you know you can order them? Did not know you could order yourself a catalog, but you can just order yourself a catalog. And it is free when you add it to your order. So just something that I just discovered. But also you will get a catalog at Practicum. And if you are anywhere near me, I'm happy to bring you one. And you can also get the digital version of the catalog online. Just scroll to the bottom of the website and look for the word catalog, or do Control F for find, and it'll take you there. The only thing that's not in the catalog online is the shopping insert. All right. So let's finish up challenge A with, what did I not do? Oh, that's challenge 2. Hold on. So we did logic, which is math, research, reasoning, debate, grammar, which is Latin. And then I'm going to show you this dictionary. I just had it in my hand. Hold on. It is, I would say this is a tier 3. Okay. So it's nice to have this Latin dictionary in your home if you're going to continue with Latin. But I wouldn't say you need to get it for challenge A, because the Henley has a glossary in the back of the book. So I just want to show you this. It's a really nice dictionary. And as they get further into Latin, they will get books that they want to look up old words, but those words are no longer in the glossary because they've moved on from that book. That is when you would want to grab a hold of a Latin dictionary. And we have a really nice one in our bookstore. So trivium tables I talked about, and the Latin dictionary is great. All right. So we're moving on to exposition.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure,
Sorry.
sure.
Just about the math map. Is that like, do we have to order naturals or something else, or is that all included? Like, do we have to know what level we're ordering for A?
So okay, so A, level A. So the word that we're using for level is domain. Just so you know, just a little grammar there. And each grade level or age level or whatever has a domain, and the domain that's appropriate for challenge A is called the complex. So you would purchase the complex. You guys are getting in at a great time for a few reasons. I'll go ahead and spoil any math map event that you might be attending of mine. Number one, the introductory price is $40 less than the retail price. So if you buy it when it first comes out, you have 2 weeks. I think it's like April 23rd to May 7th. You can get the Math Map Complex for $79. Then on top of that, if you want to, you can apply, if you enroll your child by this Friday, then sometime Monday or Tuesday, sometime next week, you will get a code in your email box for $30 of a bookstore credit. So you can get $30 off of that $79, and you would be buying this for $49. So I don't know that that's ever going to happen again. But the second thing is, when you purchase the math map, you can also get free flashcards if you attended one of my math map events. So this is a great time to be jumping on the math map bandwagon. As far as naturals and all the other ones, this is the only time that you won't need to be confused about what math map to get, because there's only one that you can buy. You cannot buy any of the other ones yet. The other ones are only available digitally. So naturals is available right now. It's been available all year long. And that is the first grade domain, right? About first grade, 6, 7 years old. Then they're going to release, I think it's fractions and real numbers. I might have those wrong. I might have the names of those domains wrong, but they're going to release 2 more or maybe 3 more domains digitally at the same time that they release the complex in print. So this next year, you will have access to only one domain in print, and that is the Challenge A level complex. The rest of them will only be available digitally. Keep in mind that once a level is available in print, it is no longer available digitally. Okay, so that digital complex thing, that's not a permanent thing. That's just us rolling it out. And those other domains, you can go on CC Connected and peruse them, and you'll be able to print them out and work with them with younger kids until they are available in print. And over the course of the next 6 years, we are releasing everything in tiers, and you can get all that information at one of the one of the Math Map events that I'm doing. So, but that answers your question, right? Okay, great. All right. So exposition, what you need to purchase. You're going to need to purchase the Lost Tools of Writing. This is the Lost Tools of Writing teacher guide. It's kind of thick. Okay. And this is the Lost Tools of Writing student guide. Yes, you need to do both, and they come in a packet, so it's fine. If you have more than one student headed into Challenge A, you can just get the student workbook, but yes, you do need the teacher guide. And you don't, it's not like, oh, you need the teacher guide like in Essentials, where some of us were like, oh, I didn't really need to buy this because I know how to do keyword outlines by now. That's not like this. This one, the teaching is in the teacher guide. All the teaching is in the teacher guide. So you're going to want to get the Lost Tools of Writing. And if you've never done Challenge A before, just be prepared. The Lost Tools of Writing takes your kids' writing way down to the basics. So the very first essay that you do, you're going to be like, what? I'm sorry. Why would we have them write such a bad essay? It's very bad, but it's meant to drill in the outline of what they're supposed to be thinking when they're doing a persuasive essay. Remember, Lost Tools of Writing is persuasive essays. Institute for Excellence in Writing, what we did for Essentials, is the tool blocks that you can use in any kind of writing, right? So whether it's academic writing, persuasive writing, or any other kind of writing, inventive writing, creative writing, those tools, ly adverbs and all that, those things, you can use those tools in any kind of writing that you do. This is not that. Lost Tools of Writing is a persuasive writing curriculum that's really about thinking. It uses the canons of writing in a very powerful and unique way. So you kind of have to deconstruct what you want to do with IEW and then reconstruct it with LTW. So this is what you're going to need to purchase for Challenge A writing for the exposition strand. In addition to the Lost Tools of Writing, so Lost Tools of Writing, that is a tier 1. Words Aptly Spoken is like a high tier 2. Let me show it to you. Words Aptly Spoken is a thin book, okay? And the reason I say it's a tier 2 is because you can still do the curriculum without this book. However, you would want to read every book that the kid reads. And some of us just can't do that. We can't read all 9 of the novels. I highly recommend you do. They're all great novels. But if you can't, or if you forgot to something about the book, or if you just need help, this book has every single chapter. Like if you open up like the book that you read, it has a section for every single chapter and a list of questions that you can ask your child to check that they read the book, understand the book, and can narrate back to you. And we know how important narration is. So for example, chapter 4 of this one is The Door in the Wall. And I just opened a book. I just opened it to any random page. Review questions. What was Robin's next carving project that summer? What happened when Robin went fishing at the brook with brother Luke? Like these are questions that you might know how to ask if you read the book, but if by chance you didn't get to read the book fully and you want to participate in helping your child narrate back to you what they learned from the book, this is a great read. And it's just my life, y'all. It has books for Challenge A and Challenge B in it. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. And it goes in order too. So it goes in the order that they read it. The Magician's Nephew, The Bronze Bow, Number the Stars, all the way down to Tanglewood Tales and The Gathering of Days, Where the Red Fern Grows. I think these are A and B books. So this is like a high tier 2 for me. Again, you don't have to buy it, but I highly recommend it. And then the Trivium table for rhetoric, I would say this is a tier let's see. Let me look at it before I tell you. This is the challenge A, math complex. And then we have the rhetoric. Oh, this one. This is the rhetoric trivium table. So here's the deal, you guys. If you love our trivium tables, you're going to want to get this one. If you have a visual student, you're going to want to get all of the trivium tables. This one is about rhetoric, and it's about the 5 canons of rhetoric, which LTW does use. We really drill in on the first 3. And then the other 2 we do a little bit later in challenge. And this puts it together visually very well. In case you don't know what the 5 canons are, it's invention, arrangement, style, memory, and delivery. And so we drill down on invention, arrangement, and style in challenge A, and we talk them through how to do all of those things. And it's all put here in a very nice format. So if you are a visual learner and you love our trivium tables, don't forget to pick up the rhetoric trivium table. And then lastly, there are a lot of books that you will be reading in challenge A. They're living books. They're all living books. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is the first one. Most of us have that in our libraries. Carry On, Mr. Bowditch, The Magician's Nephew, Number the Stars, Amos Fortune Freeman, The Secret Garden, The Door in the Wall, A Gathering of Days, and Crispin, and The Bronze Bow. Okay, they're all listed here. They are all available in our bookstore. You can also check them out from a library. They are common books. They're not hard to find. And you can also find, I found a bunch of them. Actually, I can show you. I have like stacks of books just in random spots that I found at like a half price books or something. This one is To Kill a Mockingbird. They read that one later. I have Beowulf. I have Hamlet. I just pick them up when I see them. So I would say grab your catalog, scroll through, familiarize yourself with the titles. And if you see them at a half price books or at some book sale, grab them. They're not hard to find. They're not our books. They're not like exclusive to CC. These are all living books. So that's it for challenge A. That's pretty much it for challenge A, I think. Parent preparation is the question. I love these books. If you have not read The Core of the Question and the Conversation by Lee Bortons, highly recommend. If you haven't read Classical Christian Education Made Approachable, definitely grab that one. That one probably is the easiest read of all of them. You can probably read that one in a few hours. And then The Pattern of God's Truth and Practicing Affirmation, those are all listed in our parent preparation section for challenge A. So before I move on to challenge B, does CC have a recommended vendor? Oh, that was you. Before I move on to challenge B, does anybody have any questions about challenge A product materials? Let me give you a few seconds. All right. That means I did a good job. No questions? All right. Let's do it. All right. So challenge B. Challenge B, there's a lot of overlap between challenge A and challenge B. Bye. If you're leaving, bye. Okay. I know some people just came for challenge A and some people, it's fine. So for challenge B, the parent preparation for challenge B, again, the conversation. Challenge A, they recommend the question. Challenge B, they recommend the conversation, because now we're moving more into the students having Socratic dialogue. The Soul of Science and the Peacemaker. The Peacemaker is just a really good book. You should just read it. All right. So for challenge B next year, we are still using Saxon. I don't even think they gave me a Saxon. I have one, but I don't think it's from CC. All right. So we are still using Saxon, and it will be Saxon Algebra 1-2. Okay. And it's the 3rd edition. You're going to want to just grab that homeschool packet. It has the solutions manual, and if you want, you can grab the DVDs. I think I have one for sale. I'm trying to think. It's either 1-2 or 3-4, something like that. And then of course our supplementary, like tier 2 supplementary stuff, is the same as before. It's the trivium tables for math, the addition and multiplication, notations and fractions flashcards, and of course the whiteboard. For research, all right, let me move my box a little bit so I can get to, let me move my stuff around a little bit so I can get to challenge B. Ah, look what I found. First year Latin. That's what it looks like. Just purple-ish or blue, something like that. 1 second. Okay. All right. I think I'm a little bit where I can just grab stuff. So for challenge B, for logic, we have the math. For research, we have defeating Darwinism, discovering Atmos, and then the facts and cards in the nature journal. So defeating Darwinism looks like this. Okay. It actually has quite a few covers, I've noticed, but this is the one that we have in the bookstore most recently. It's a book that we read. I read this book, I think, or maybe I didn't, but it's a book that many people we had it on our shelf already before we were even in CC. And it is a great read to introduce apologetics to the students. Defeating Darwinism. Discovering Atmos is actually a packet that you will transfer into a binder. Did I see it? Over here. Here we go. Discovering Atmos. So you're going to get it. It's just a shrink wrapped packet. Okay. And it has information about molecules and atoms and all kinds of things that they're going to be learning about in the research strand. You'll grab that, put it in a binder, and it looks like that. Okay. Then we have the big dogs. I know you guys are looking forward to logic, right? So we have introductory logic and then intermediate logic. The introductory logic is first semester. You do have a teacher's edition. The teacher's edition, it looks like this. It's like a big old textbook, right? So thankfully, eventually we won't have to carry this and a big old math textbook. This is the student notebook. Looks just like this. And you're going to get this and this in a packet. Plus, I think the testing packet. Okay. So that is first semester introductory logic. And then second semester looks just like it, but it's intermediate logic. This is the student and this is the teacher. Okay. It's very thick, like a college textbook. Okay. And then on top of that, you probably want to get the test and quiz packet. And then there is a DVD set. So if you're feeling a little bit like not confident that you could actually teach the logic, don't worry. There actually are DVDs that teach the logic for your student. Those are tier 2. You don't need them because usually the tutor will help, the director will help them along. But in my case, when my child was in Challenge B, the director was not helpful at all. She was so confused and trying to learn it with us. And so we all just kind of jumped in and did it together. So that you can get the DVD set for introductory logic as well as for intermediate logic. And then, of course, the logic trivium table will come in really handy with this because the trivia, we love our trivium tables. And if you have, again, a visual student, it's going to take all of those different syllogisms and all of the different logical arguments and make them make sense related to one another. And it even talks about the 10 logical fallacies that you're going to learn about in the fallacy detective. And they're all in one place. So the logic trivium table, another great investment. I would say that's a tier 3. You don't really need it, but it'd be great for your homeschool, right? Debate, the American Experience storybook, and the mock trial notebook. Here is our mock trial. I have not heard word that we would get a new trial. So we are still using the same mock trial that we have been using for the last few years. I think we lost our licensure for the other 2 that we were rotating through. So if you're wondering if you have the mock trial already, do you need to get another one? Right now, the answer is no. We are still using the same mock trial that we used before. So you're going to want to order that if you don't have that for challenge B. And then the American Experience book I just had in my hand. Here it is. An American Experience. It's history in the form of a story. Let me just make sure I'm showing you the right one. American Experience Storybook. Yep. So this is what they'll be using for debate in Challenge B. The American Experience Storybook and the Mock Trial Notebook. We are still using the same books for grammar, which is Henley. And we are still using the same books for exposition, which is Lost Tools of Writing. And then the new books that they will be reading are The Phantom Tollbooth, Little Britches, Where the Red Fern Grows, Tanglewood Tales, and The Hiding Place. So that is everything for Challenge B. Again, a lot of what is for Challenge B already purchased for Challenge A. So you should be all set if you get all of these. And of course, go browse the website and see if there are other things that you want in your library, because you want to surround your kids and your students with other resources and references that they can use as they begin to have these conversations about these different topics. So that is pretty much it for Challenge A and B. Does anyone have any questions before I let you go? Sorry, I was a little harried today. I mean, my homeschool is, we're preparing for Memory Master. So it was feeling like we have to get this done. And then I don't know about y'all, but that time change, it really got me this year. Like normally I'm fine, but for some reason it felt like 4 hours instead of just one. So
It got us too.
yeah, it really got us. I'm like, and we had a big rite of passage ceremony for my 12-year-old on Friday night. And then she had like a sleepover, and then we were up late. It was just a lot. So I'm sorry to have started this off so harried and not be super prepared, but hopefully it was still really helpful. Time change stinks. I know. I think they should just leave it right here. I'm going to leave it right here. Because if they leave it the way that it is in the summer, then in the fall, then it's going to be like super dark at 8:30 in the morning. That's not going to work. But anyway, I think they should just stop it like right here. But thank you guys for joining me. If you have any questions, you can always hit me up with a text message or a phone call or an email. I'm happy to help and answer questions. I hope this was helpful. And I'll be doing Challenge 1 and 2 tomorrow. I think I'm going to sit here and prepare for Challenge 1 and 2 so that I don't do this again tomorrow. But I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and let me know if you feel like there's something else I should do differently. All right.
Nope. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.